Yeah, I mean, it always made sense to me principle-wise. It made sense to me that just on a neurological level, every nerve fiber running from the brain to every single cell in the body is present here, right, in the upper cervical region and in the brain stem. So it made sense to me, but I think again, what brought it to life was Panama. And after the first trip, we decided we didn't have the time to lay people down on tables. So there were thousands of people waiting, and we didn't really have time to adjust full spine. So what can we do to benefit the maximum number of people here? And that choice was rather obvious. We could do seated upper cervical, and everybody was told that if they got the hit or the feeling or the impression that something else was needed, that was fine. But that's what we were going to do. And again, to adjust an upper cervical and see a 12-year-old get up out of a wheelchair for the first time in her life, or all the other amazing things we saw, and it wasn't even what we saw, Ben. It was like what we felt, the entire energy of the country changed. I mean, 385,000 people in a country of 2.5 million people is a pretty good chunk. and wherever we would go in Panama, people would, I mean, we were white, so that probably helped. Everybody knew, oh, you guys must be the chiropractors. You guys are, or must be the guys who are making everybody in Panama smile. That's what it became, and that's what we heard from the director of this school for challenged kids. It's thousands of kids in the school, blind kids, deaf kids, cerebral palsy, vaccine damaged kids. It seemed obvious to us. In fact, it was at that school that one of the deaf kids got their hearing restored after her first adjustment. And after a week of working there, and have the director say, we saw this and we saw this, and this is amazing, and the kids have been getting every conceivable kind of care for the 27 years that I've been here, and we've never seen anything impact kids like this. But the most amazing thing, the thing that everybody's talking about, the thing is that these kids are smiling. So we heard this thing about smiling over and over, and I think that's really significant because for one thing, you're not in chiropractic yet, folks, but they don't teach you an adjustment for smiling. There is no smile adjustment. There is no get up out of a wheelchair and walk adjustment. There is no particular bone that you plug into to have somebody's hearing restored. If you happen to hit the right note, if you happen to get where the interference is, which is really what our training is about, then who knows what could happen. And so that's where the upper cervical thing became real to me. um, and I realized that sometimes we do too much by trying to adjust 206 bones on every visit. By the way, that's how many you have in your body, including the ones in your ears. We may think, well, we won't miss the interference if we adjust every bone in the body, but I think we're giving that system a little too much to handle. Whereas if we can really hone in on where the interference most likely is, which, according to BJ Palmer, our developer, would be the upper cervical area. And again, that's it's a different joint up there. You guys will learn it's a lot more subject to traumas and stress, especially at birth. So for a lot of reasons, the upper cervical area. And again, I didn't isolate myself to it, but I made sure that was clear. And sometimes for the first few weeks of somebody's care, I would only do that because I wanted to make sure that the main power switch was on before we started playing with the circuit breakers.